I'll give my very quick thoughts about Russia's position about wanting to give food aid to Africa. It is because we know a lot of countries in Africa are really suffering, especially sub-Saharan Africa, due to drought and, of course, other factors that has seen a lot of countries reeling from famine and hunger and things like that. And Russia is saying that it is willing even to give Africa food for free, but on a condition that African countries sever ties with Ukraine. I think there's some agreement some countries entered with Ukraine. So Russia is saying that this country should not renew these uh, agreements with Ukraine, and then Russia is able will be in a position or will be willing to supply some of these countries with food aid for free. If Russia wants to give food to Africa, let Russia give food to Africa. We don't need conditions. I think we have too many of these conditions from these powers outside of the continent. We don't need any more of this, especially not from Russia. And my position in this invasion to Ukraine has been that Africa, we should not be forced into taking sides. Different countries have supported the resolutions at the United Nations against Russia's invasion to Ukraine. Others have decided to abstain. Others have decided to support Russia. I think we are countries that are independent in this continent, and every country is making a decision that is of its own interest and how we choose to relate with this Western power. So my position has always been every country can choose a position based on the interest that serves it, because this is how Western powers make their decisions based on how such a decision or such a stand is serving their interest. So Africans also and their countries should be allowed to make their own decisions, because we do know sometimes what's best for us. So if Russia wants to give this food aid to Africa, let it go ahead and give it, because there are countries that need it. Although it's really embarrassing, because when you look at the statistics that we have, Africa has the biggest arable land that is uncultivated. That if actually our leadership paid attention into making these arable lands more useful to their citizens, that we not be needing somebody to be coming with a with food as a carrot that is being dangled literally over us for us to make certain decisions that perhaps may not even be at the best interest of our country. So my position in this is that Africa should not be coerced in taking a position. We should not be coerced. So if Putin wants to give the food aid to Africa, let him do that out of good faith, but let him not put this condition that we have to sever ties with the Ukraine, or we have to take this stand, or whichever. No, we should not. The same way the West also should not be pushing Africa to stand with it in its position against Russia. Africa should be left out of it, and we should not be used as pawn in these proxy wars and this extension of the Cold War that you're seeing has played out for over 40 years now. It's playing out right now, except there's a physical aggression into Ukraine on factors that has to do with the proxy wars and the politics in the Western world. So we don't want to be drawn into this unnecessary conflict. We condemn it, of course. The devastation is horrifying, but we can choose to look at this matter or take positions in ways that are for the benefit of our countries, and neither Russia or the US or other countries in the West or even China should think they have an authority to come and tell us how to respond or how to deal or how to act as far as this conflict is concerned in the international system. That will be left to the different countries that make up Africa to decide individually what's right for them. And so that is just my position on that. So Russia, if you want to give the free food, go ahead and do it, but don't bring us conditions. The US, if you want to come in and help Africa, you give out the over 50 billion grant that is meant to be spread out for 3 years across Africa. I know your influence in Africa is really threatened, and so these are just ways you're trying to come in and endear yourself in Africa so that you're able to meet your the goals of your foreign policy. We understand that, but this coercion on the continent. This has to stop. This has to stop. Africa should be left to make her own decisions and to make her own choices over how these African countries, because we're not one country, how best we see and how these decisions that you're making best serve our interest as different countries in this continent. So let us be.